Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Star Trek Challenger Gateways, Book 2 of 7, Chainmail. Boy, that's a lot of titles, and in fact, I feel like they go out of order. It should be Star Trek Gateways Challenger Chainmail. But anyway, this is the second book in the Gateway series by Diane Carey. And the way that this series was written is each book in the series follows a different crew. The first book follows the original series crew. The second book follows the crew of the Challenger. The third book's the Next Generation crew. The fourth book is the DS9 crew. The fifth book is the Voyager crew. Did I say Voyager already? Anyway, fifth book's the Voyager crew, and the sixth book's the New Frontier crew, and the seventh book ties it all together with a bunch of short stories. And this book, it says Challenger, and you would think, oh, there's probably Challenger books out there. Not really. There was a 6-book series called the New Earth series that features a ship called the Challenger, which I believe the 6th book in the series is called the Challenger. And 2 of those 6 books are written by Diane Carey. And so this takes place, after that 6-book series. I believe, I don't know this for sure, but if I had to guess that this was envisioned as like a stepping off point, as saying, all right, we're going to do a full series dedicated to this crew of the Challenger. And so that's why they slotted it in as one of the 7 as part of the Gateway saga. And I would just guess that this book did not get well received, and as a result, they never continued on with it, which is why there is no Challenger series, even though this makes it seem like there is. That's my guess. I'm sticking with it. But I feel very lied to about this series because it's pitched as this big, overarching Star Trek series. And really, the only connective tissue between these books is the fact that there are gateways. The gateways are different between the 2 books, so they're not even like the same type of gateway. And even then, no character connections so far, no, plot really connections so far. And so, these could be read totally separately. It doesn't even have to be part of the series. And from what I've heard, you could get all the way to the last book, and the last book kind of ties it up, but even then, it's not like it's a crossover. So do not consider this a crossover series, because that's what it's not is. I read the first book last month. It's very short. It's almost like a novella. It was okay. I didn't particularly love it, but it was okay. And I read this one, and with the start of it, I was actually really getting into it, and I was like, ooh boy, I'm liking this one a lot more. And then the ending came, and I was like, I didn't like the ending. So this book kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. The book is basically split up into like thirds. The first third of the book takes place on what we'll call the grave ship. And the grave ship is like this ship that there's like a bunch of people, it looks like statues, and the crew of the Challenger is on this ship exploring it. Stuff goes wrong, they're trying to get off the ship. That's the first third of the book. And it's fine. It's interesting. It produces some cool world building stuff. It feels very much like the comics that I've read for Star Trek, but it's okay. But then you get the middle section of the book, which is set on the Challenger. And I loved that section. The middle section of this book, when they're on the Challenger and they're dealing with all the crew political stuff, is great. So basically, in the Belterre sector, they kind of cobble together pieces of ships to create the Challenger. And they have crews that are not just human from the Federation, but you also have people called the Blood People, and you have the Old People who are part of the crew. And the Blood People, which sounds like a really weird name for people, they have a very hard time accepting the rule of the captain because they think that the way that he rules is wrong. And so they want, there's a crew member who they believe disobeyed an order, and so they want that crew member punished. And the captain's like, yeah, he disobeyed an order, but I mean, he's kind of right to disobey it, so I'm okay with it. And they're like, no, he disobeyed your order. You must punish him harshly. You must, do all this stuff to him. And the captain's like, I don't want to do that. They're like, we will not accept it. He must be punished. And so it creates this kind of tension, and I loved it. I thought that tension was great. I thought that the whole, Captain Keller having to figure out what to do with the blood on the crew, and having to kind of reconcile the fact that maybe they won't. They're the type of crew member he wants, but at the same time, if he doesn't have them on the crew, his crew will be too small and they might die. And then the third half of the last third of the book is when the ships have come out through the gateway, and the people who are connected to the grave ship are there, and the stuff with the blood comes to a head with the people that are through the gateway with the Federation. All the stuff blah 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 happens, and the ending I was just like, it's too much. It's trying to be too big. It's too hard to understand. Diane Carey should have kept it smaller in scope, like the first 2/3 were, and it felt like she was trying to make it epic and an awesome ending. Probably because she was trying to sell us on the idea of doing more books in this Challenger series, but it did not work at all for me. I did not like the ending at all. That was by far the weakest part of the book and really soured me on the book, which has happened a lot recently, that the last portion of a book has soured me. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't love the book. I thought off the first 2/3, I was like, oh boy, I have a better Star Trek book now. And then I didn't like the ending, so I'm like, darn it, why can't I find more Star Trek books that I'm loving? Because I'm only reading one a month right now because I'm trying to focus on other stuff, and I've not had the best batting average in the last year and a half. So hopefully the other books in this series are better than this one, and the first book. And I'm more confused about why it's called The Gateways. I mean, I understand there's The Gateways, but I'm like, how is this a series? What's your plan? I don't understand why we're doing this. What's the goal? Like, it was just, I have so many questions that are unanswered with this series, and I feel less confident than I did after reading the first book. And I will point out, the first book has like the large font. The second book has small fonts. The second book's 110 pages longer than the first book. So it's already a decent, 50% longer, page count-wise. But the fact that this has much smaller word count-wise, much smaller font size, and more words per page, this book is twice as long. And I'm like, why couldn't you guys get together and figure out the length together? Anyway, that's just my personal gripe. So that's my review of Star Trek Challenger Gateways, Book 2 of 7, Chainmail by Diane Carey. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts on it. If you've read other books in the New Earth series, is the New Earth series worth it? I've heard it's not, but you tell me whether you think it's worth it. And what other Star Trek books are you reading right now? Let me know all those thoughts in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.